Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about my supervisor. First, I would like to introduce the elephant that I'm going to talk about. Where is he? Leslie? Has he disappeared? Okay. All right, yeah. Why I used the symbol elephant is that I wanted to introduce the elephant. The elephant arrived. Thank you. Yes. I used this symbol because we were on holiday with my grandchildren, and my 9-year-old Palesa said, "Granny, I would like to ride an elephant." So we took her to the game park, and then she was on the elephant. So my husband went, he was aside, he walked along with her, so to make sure that she is fine. So after the ride, then I asked her, "Pali, how was it, how was the ride?" Then she said, "Granny, it was so nice to be on this elephant's back. I was warm. At the same time, I could see, the whole park. And then I felt supported because my granddad was there with me. And I just thought, oh, this is similar to the supervisor that I had. Leslie is like an elephant, kitlo in my Tswana language. You can imagine how big that animal is, and you can look at him. He's not that big. But through his character, his style of supervision, I was able to complete my PhD. I received my PhD at the age of 66. And thank you. There was also an age difference there. So as an elder person, you also have some authority. But Leslie respected the way I wanted to drive the project, because he was aware that, of my interest in the study in epilepsy and my passion for doing this project. So his role was not about telling me or writing what I should have written or rewriting what I've written in my own way. But he gave me that space to express what I wanted to talk about and what my research was about in my own way, in my own style. He appreciated the art. I'm somebody who likes pictures, drawings. He appreciated all those things that I said. Leslie, when we write about this thing, I would like to have a picture of patients with epilepsy, of doctors, of home-based carers in that chapter, and then write a summary so that when people look at my thesis, it's not just a dead thesis, it's something that you can relate to when you read about this chapter, about doctors, about traditional healers, about home-based carers. So he appreciated the way I was trying to communicate and disseminate my findings, and also how I wanted my thesis to look like. Leslie was always curious, because I love stories. When I come from fieldwork, I would say, this is what interested me. That when one of the interpreters said, your documents are in academic isiXhosa, they say, hang on, how did that happen? So I said, no, this interpreter said, this is not the language that is spoken in the community. Your documents are in academic isiXhosa. And how did you go about it? So you would be interested to find out more on those kind of challenges that I met in the field and how I actually managed those things from my own perspective. And the story about the tortoise, when I told him about the tortoise that was under the couch on which I was sitting throughout the interview, and when suddenly it appeared, how freaked I was. And then he said, Johanna, this would be a beautiful story. So he wouldn't have said, oh, what about the tortoise? Just forget about the tortoise. But he encouraged me to think more about things that came unexpectedly in the field as I was doing my research. Now, he also made me curious, so that when I'm in the field, I must also be curious about things that I know he might not know about, which I would like to tell him about. So when we plan a meeting, I would be looking forward to meeting with Leslie. And I would arrive there 15 minutes before the time. And sometimes I would find him with another student. And then he would say, Johanna, I'm still busy with another student, can you sit there? So I found that having a supervisor who likes your work, who takes time to look at your work, to give you feedback within 1 hour. Leslie is somebody who is organized. He tells me he's not organized. Every time when I say, oh, but Leslie, you are organized, within 1 hour, we have talked about my agenda, the agenda that I've drawn for myself, of course, and I will drive it. He would look at what I've presented for the day. And whilst he's on the computer, I'll be talking. Leslie, you know, I read about that article, so he'll be busy nodding. And at one point, I was reading about the nodding syndrome. And when he nods, I know he's actually excited about what I have written. And I would sit there and feel, yeah, at least today, he's affirming what I have said. And during that time, as he nods, he's also thinking about what other additional resource can I add, you know, so that Johanna can be able to stretch this point further. So he'll also give me additional resources to expand my work or strengthen the piece of work that I have presented. 1 hour. In that 1 hour, I will come out of that meeting excited, knowing what I'm going to do the next time. When am I supposed to bring that work? And he will say, if you are not able to finish at that time, please let me know. That is what I loved. Because I'm having an autoimmune condition called sarcoidosis. So sometimes I would be fatigued from reading and from, you know, doing field work. And then he will say, even if you are not prepared, Johanna, just come. Now, if somebody can say, even if you are not prepared, just come, let's talk. What won't make you to really reach your goal? Because sometimes there were moments when I would tell my husband, oh, today I did not really do much. But Leslie said, please come, even if you have not done anything. But out of that meeting, I would have felt, you know, revived and starting back again and going back on track with what I am supposed to be doing. You know, an elephant, do you know how an elephant walks? It's slow. And that's what my granddaughter said. Said, I loved the way it was, that slow way of walking. And as it walked, I watched her because she was also riding and also doing this on the back of the elephant. Appreciating one's work. So that is what my daughter appreciated on riding this elephant. So I also appreciated every moment or every meeting that I had with Leslie. And that brought or strengthened our relationships. Because I would come prepared. He is also prepared for the meeting. When I come for a meeting with Leslie, he wouldn't say, you know, I was supposed to be doing this, having excuses. No excuses, it's business. And both of us would have contributed to the outcome of that meeting. Leslie gave me instant feedback. I wouldn't go out of the meeting without feedback. Instant. not waiting for somebody who will say, oh, I had business meetings, I was traveling, I had this conference, so I was unable to give you feedback. Instant feedback, so that I could be able to proceed. My being supervised by Leslie was not about just getting my doctoral. It was also about professional development. My PhD was through publication, and I completed with 7 published articles and 2 manuscripts that were under review at the time when I graduated. And when I opted for PhD via publication, I was a bit skeptical. But at the same time, I said to him, I'm already older. And I know when I publish, at least my credibility would be, people will see, oh, Dr. Keikelame, at least she has published elsewhere. And I'm telling you, my students actually gave me the title before I even completed, because they would see where I've published it. We saw your article in Epilepsy and Behavior. Then I said, no, don't refer me to doctor, I'm still Mrs. So it doesn't mean that when I'm not yet a doctoral student or having obtained the degree, I can't publish. But publication helped me, professional development. I was able to be promoted to a senior lecturer's post because of his encouragement, and because I didn't know how my thesis is going to be structured. But through conversation and through ongoing discussion about how this thesis would look like, I had an idea of how my chapters would be. And when I wrote a motivation for doing a PhD via publication, we actually sat together, and that's when I could see, all right, the first chapter is the first article. The second chapter would be this. The third chapter would be this. So it became easier for me to see how these chapters will connect and form a whole when I finally write my thesis. He made made some opportunities for me to be able to review. When you publish, there will be other editors who will invite you. So I was invited by the editor of Epilepsy and Behavior to say, oh, Mrs. Keikelame, you have published on cultural issues around epilepsy. Can you review this article for me or this manuscript for me? So I thought, oh, this actually gave me, an opportunity to be known as a reviewer, to be invited as a reviewer. So I was able to critique others who were also writing about the topic, and I could also assess myself. Oh, but I'm not, I'm also good at this point. Oh, this one did not actually stretch it to this point. So I was also learning on how others are writing, also assessing myself, and also having a chance to improve my own work from reviewing other people's work. So those were some of the things that that came out from being supervised by somebody like Leslie. Leslie wanted to get the best out of me. Sometimes when you do PhD, especially through publication, you sort of, okay, I'm finishing. You sort of worry and about the outcome of this thesis, but his encouragement and motivation made me to be able to be where I am. He focused more on what I was good at instead of on my weaknesses. Hence, I said he was like an elephant, supportive, explorative, curious, and also empathetic and caring. So those were some of the things that I really enjoyed from working with Leslie. And lastly, how we met was really by chance, and I did not even know that he was from Lichtenberg, where I come from. So as we talked, we only realized that, oh, he's also from Northwest, and I also come from Northwest. So he understood the political circumstances under which I was raised in Lichtenberg, and those are some of the things that I think also strengthened our relationship together. Thank you.